Welcome back, my trading warrior brother. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Can hear you fine, buddy.
Okay. What chart can you see? Because
Looks like a Euro Swiss 15-minute.
yeah, I'm trying to get it so I can see this because I don't know what I'm showing right now. Um, I so prefer the go-to meeting one, but yeah, okay. Yeah, so as long as you can see my screen, that's all that matters.
Okay, yeah, and the chart up there is Euro Swiss. So,
Okay. So, is there any way you'd like me to begin?
excuse me?
Is there any pair you'd like me to begin with?
No, I'm just curious what you have on your radar. I mean, it's a red event week. Maybe you tread lightly with the Fed tomorrow, NFP Friday. I want to acknowledge that you made it's not the first one, but you made a great call on the yen last time you were with us. I'm surprised the yen's not 110 already, Saeed, with risk on that we've had in S&Ps.
Yeah.
Where are you at on U.S. dollar yen?
So I'm heading much higher. I believe the yearly open next. So so I'm still bullish this pair, and I'm looking at it from like a macro perspective. I think if we could do a breakout, we could. I know it probably goes against most what people say, 120s, but I'll explain my reasoning why behind it as well.
Okay.
So next short-term target, I believe 109.30s, which is if I go to the 4 hour, which is just this high here,
Yeah, that's
and
what you
then
had last time too, and I kept in mind your 109.20 was a great number before we got a pretty good break.
yeah, I've been quite fortunate with this pair. I've been milking this, but yeah, but if we get above the yearly open, this is going to be massive upside.
Where's that? 109.5, buddy? 109.60?
68, yeah, around
Okay.
168-ish. Yeah. So if we look at the yearly chart, um, I mean, if I'm seeing this as a pullback before the next leg up. So if I go, for example, like a quarterly view, no, actually, no, a yearly view, right? I'm seeing this. I'm seeing something like this. So that's like a deviation. It's hit here already. So if we close bullish, that's the down we've done. And then we get the impulsive move up. So if we look at like previous years, small body, small body, small body, it's more of like a corrective behavior of the market, especially with indices, at all-time highs. And everybody's trying to short the indices. There's no sign of shorting. I mean, I don't see a short anyway. So if this breaks up, this could be huge. But what also supports this is looking at all the other yen pairs. You look at all the yen pairs, they're at major, like yearly, quarterly support levels bouncing off. So,
Okay.
I mean, bigger picture, right? I mean, if we look at this, I mean, I don't use basic chart patterns, but just to see, illustrate the point. If we break above this, and this is a quarterly breakout, this could be huge. This could be like, around here, 118, 120s. I personally think we're going to get that. But one
Well,
level I
then
do,
we're going to have sharply higher yields.
well, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. But if you look at
Yeah.
the bigger picture, I mean, I'm not just looking at dollar yen on its own. I'm looking at gold. I'm looking at all the other yen pairs together as well. So that sort of confluences. If
Would
you look
that
at,
be bearish gold in your mind? If we had a big breakout in yen and we're heading up to 120, would that be a bearish environment for precious metals? Because that would mean higher rates and more opportunity costs for gold.
you know what? I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to fundamentals, I ain't got a clue. I just got I go.
Okay.
I rely on others to tell their
Okay.
views.
It's just a
But
correlation. That's all.
yeah.
Just
So
a pure correlation.
for example's sake, I mean, for me to take this, I've been looking at the ZN and I've been looking at this for my gold ideas. And if I overlay this with each other, I
Yeah.
mean, last week I got squeezed on gold. I'm looking at weekly, no wonder. I got squeezed on gold, but the ZN was pointing lower. So I accepted the loss there. But then this week, if you look at it snap back down. So I think gold comes to 1450s, and then I'll make my mind up from there.
Okay.
But yeah, going back to the dollar, I mean, this week I don't have a very clear view on the dollar yen. My main thing for the dollar yen was a break above this low here. So I've been using like a macro range for this, coupled with the quarterly charts, which is this is the thick green line at the bottom of the range low, the thick green line at the top is the range high. So the moment we made a weekly close above that, look historically,
Yeah.
we've got deviation. As soon as it gets back above, pushes all the way back up. Deviation, back up. Deviation, back up. Now this is supported with all the other yen pairs as well. I believe we call around the 111.24s, which is the view we had last time as well. So this range level here lines up with the yearly open. Now, because it's end of the month, I'm a bit, I don't really like to take, swing positions ahead of month end, unless it's a wider stop. So I'm unsure how to get on board at the moment. I've got a small position in, but ideally, as long as we don't make a weekly close below here, I'm bullish. Now, people have a problem like, oh, it's going, how do I get on board? Well, in this case, I've got a strong conviction. I'm happy, and if I got a higher target, I'm happy to add a small position with a wide stop. Now, somebody say, wow, that's 86 pip stop. But think about it. The moment I get a new invalidation level, say, as soon as we make a clean break above this level here and hold, my invalidation level shifts. So whatever I've reduced it by, I add. So that's one approach I use. The moment I get a new invalidation level, I'll add whatever I've reduced it by. So that slowly builds up your position without having that FOMO of missing out. Now, it's not for everybody, but I mean, in smaller accounts, people.
And then your line in the sand trails up with it as it attains a new level to the upside. Is that what you're saying?
That's it. So the reason why is another reason way is by looking at it is, I mean, if we're approaching the end of the month, right? What is the usual behavior of a candlestick close? It's going to usually leave some sort of wick in, isn't it? So probability-wise, a breakout or a trending move right at the end is a high probability. We usually have an impulse, big if it's a big bullish month, for example here, and then end of the month it wicks down, forms the wick. So what I'll be looking for is once the new month starts, let it do its wick. As soon as it wicks and gets back above the open, and on the lower time frames it gets back above my key pivots, then I'll know the low the month is in, and then what I'll do is I'll look to ride the body, the expansion phase of the candle. So I'm probably waiting till the end of the month. So usually what I do is when it's the end of the month, I start moving away from the majors. Now, reason why is because when I was going into the week, right, I had a very bearish bias on the Euro USD. So I'll break down Euro USD and it'll make sense for why I choose to go with the crosses. So if I go with Euro USD right now, if we look, we're in this range. So this is the range low, that's the range high, and we come to the midpoint, okay?
Yeah.
I'm actually macro bearish Euro USD unless we smash above this level here. So for me, it's just coming to resistance. Now that gives me a bearish bias. Now that's a bias. That doesn't give me a trigger. So I'm looking at this week. I'm seeing, okay, Aussie dollar's bullish, dollar CAD's bearish, but Euro USD is looking bearish. So I'm getting mixed signals. If that's the case, I move straight over to the crosses. So to start the week, I had a bearish Euro USD view, and then I left it alone. I went straight to the Euro Aussie. Now I like to use Euro Aussie as an example as to how I approach things. I think it's a good example of where I remove the dollar risk in that case, and
yeah, so the dollar's unclear and you move to different crosses that don't involve the dollar.
That's it. So
makes sense, man.
So it's just personal thing for me there, and I think Euro Aussie on its own merit is really clear. So I'm looking at Aussie dollar's bullish, looking bullish to me. So if I look at this right now, I mean this is still in a range. If it breaks out of the range, obviously quarterly basis, it's going to push a lot higher. But while it's within a range, you can still take advantage of that. So I'm going to see, okay, within here, where's market being capped by? The market's being capped by this monthly low here, and it's being capped by this monthly high here. So all I need to know is playing within this, okay? So I said to, like, one of my main setups was for a short towards the low. So while it's range bound, we play it from one side of the range to the other side of the range. So within that, I'll take out the midpoint of the range. And as soon as I got the midpoint of the range, we can see that if it breaks the midpoint, it's going to most likely go towards the downside. Now, what objectives do I have? This consolidation here, and then stops resting below here. So instead of I played Euro through the Euro Aussie. So that sort of makes me feel more confident about the idea. And last week we had this is like last week's high. We took out Monday's high. So if that's the case and broke down, because at this point, beginning of the week, we didn't break the mid-range and I had a bearish Euro bias, I played a smaller position because I know if it breaks that, then most likely it's going to push the range high. And then as soon as it broke the mid-range, we've had multiple attempts at it. Aussie's still pushing up. Euro's still consolidating. They played this and we're in a bearish trade right at the moment. I'm looking for this level here. If it's to break this mid-range and not reject, I'll cut the position. So I shift towards crosses. Now, this brings me back to I'm bullish dollar yen and weak yen, but I don't want to play the dollar yen. What do I play? The New Zealand yen. And the reason why is because if you look across the board to all the yen crosses, CAD yen's been pushing up.
Yeah.
Aussie yen's been pushing up. The one that's lagging is New Zealand yen. So usually
the Kiwi weakness compared to Aussie. Aussie stronger than Kiwi.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So I like to look at the crosses. For example, in this case, Aussie New Zealand's been firing up, okay?
Yeah.
Eventually, this is going to have some sort of pullback, okay? Or some sort of pause. All I need is that pause. The moment it pauses, so it's taking out these keys highs. So usually, the crosses will, if some, like for example, Aussie yen, CAD yen, all the yen pairs are rallying, the lagging one will play catch up eventually. Now, we had a bullish bias on the New Zealand yen from down here. So if we look at this right now, what range are we stuck within? So that weekly high, that weekly low, one attempt failed, second attempt failed, third attempt failed, which proved that was the range low. Here we attempted it, we broke, we failed. Then we had a weekly close above. Last week we retested it. So as long as it's above this level, I'm bullish. So if we look across the board, it was weakening, weakening, weakening just to touch that range high here from the weekly. Did they move? So I'm long, and I've got my stop loss here. I believe this is the one of the pairs that you should play catch up, and I'm looking for it to play towards the higher time frame level of this low here, 70.20.
Do you look at the Aussie Kiwi pairing for trade selection between the two?
Yeah, I do. I
And
always look at the crosses. Yeah.
okay, so if you're looking at that, perhaps Aussie Kiwi is might peak a little bit up here for Kiwi to take the leadership role.
Exactly. So it's funny how as soon as this came to resistance area, that's
Yeah.
when New Zealand yen, and if you look at it, New Zealand dollar as well. It came into there. It's making
Do
a
I
higher
read your
lows.
mind a little bit, or what?
Yeah, I think it's some crystal bullshit going on here.
All right, so that's a real interesting point and great mentoring when you're unclear on the dollar to move towards non-dollar pair trading, and I think that's one of the highlights of it. How about energy here?
Which one?
Oil?
Oil. Yeah, I mean, I've got a plan for oil. I mean, let's go back. Oil. I am bullish macro view, but let's see if it proves my idea. So if I go to oil, okay. So oil. If you look on the quarterly chart, I believe this is bullish. I'm seeing this is a higher low. Unless these lows break, I'm seeing this is a higher low. So my objective for oil is short term is going to be here, this high here.
Where's that? 60?
This comes
15?
in around yeah, 60.71 ish. Yeah,
Okay.
about 60. Call it 60. So let's break this down to the lower time frame now. So oil on the lower time frame. I'm using a macro, my bigger time ranges. No, that's the wrong one here.
I think we're testing some major support on this pullback here that we broke out of last
Yeah.
week.
So to break it down, I mean, I'm using this range low to this range high, and this is the midpoint. So we can see how pivotal that midpoint is. So normally, when I have my ranges, my midpoint is usually my magnet for price. If it's gives me the bullish price action, it comes to this point support, and it bounces, gives me the bullish price action. That's usually the magnet for price. I don't care about higher prices. This is the magnet. If it makes a clean break, I'm bullish. Now I'll wait for the lower time frame. So last week we took a long around here, and we got out, around here. So this is my key SR level. So we formed a range, okay, and just call it that. Consolidation. We look for the break, retest now. Now I don't blindly buy it. I need to see, okay, is the market going to confirm? So what I do is I break it down into further ranges. So my setup is it comes into here, unless it's really clear. I'm not going to take a long here. Oops, sorry, that's my recording from the live session. So if it comes down to here and it gets back above, then I'll be looking for the longs above here because what
Where's
is that?
that blue line? 540?
That line is here, the SR level here.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's
close
55, 55 40s. So if it comes down to here, I'm not interested in along here, but as soon as it consolidates, gets back above it, then that's the pull, that's the deviation of the range. So,
okay.
so this was one of my exit techniques as well, where it came down, got back above, and then here I exited the remainder, which means it's capped within here. If it breaks that, it's going to go lower towards probably around here. If it gets back above here, that then supports my higher time frame bias, and at that point I'll start looking for longs. And then here's my first attempt at longs, and then if it breaks this, then that means we're going to continue higher because it's come off that key higher time frame support towards my magnet,
Right.
which is around 58, 60s on a smaller time frame, but we've got the 60s higher time frame.
58, 60, 61 back, 1.8 back from that spike on the attack on the Saudi oil fields from there.
That was a dirty one. But if it breaks this, if it breaks this low, then that most likely that means we're going to probably head towards this range low. Then my bullish bias gets cut off.
Okay.
I'll change.
All right. So with your work, when markets are at new historical highs or new historical lows, and you know, you brought it up, a lot of people trying to top pick the S&Ps.
Uh,
What do you do to possibly get a handle on how much higher a market could go when it's breaking out into new high ground?
See, in my opinion, right, I think there's a lot of emotion involved when it always out no high, it must come down. Why has to come? Why does it have to come down? I mean, let's look at. I mean, this is what I do to clear my mind. Right, I'll just go to a macro chart and say, okay, what is a quarter to me? There's nothing bearish about this. Okay,
Nothing.
I mean, it's a quarterly. I mean, look how bullish this is. Okay, I
Yeah,
won't fight it. I'll go along with it until I'm wrong. Then I break it down. So I've been using this range. I think it was in the past couple of ones as well for ages.
yeah,
So I mean, I've got longs going on. So here it's at all time high. How do I approach this? So the way I approach it, I look back. I look backwards. Say, okay, where am I wrong on the idea? Well, I'm wrong here, this low here. Because if it takes out this low, most likely it's gonna have a deeper pullback. But
2980.
that does not mean I have a trade idea. So what do I need to
Right.
see to have a new validation level? Could it come into these highs here? Could it take out this low? That's fine. I don't care. What I do is I look for to come below all-time high, which is here. And then as soon as it gets back above, that's it. From my validation level goes from there to there. So as soon as I've got a tight validation level that fits my risk parameters, then I'll be interested because I know where I'm wrong. As long as I know where I'm wrong, I can work with that. Instead of guessing here or there or there, I look to tell the market tell me, okay, the new validation level. So if this was to happen, get back above, I believe that would be the new validation level. So we got FOMC tomorrow as well, so probably market won't do much ahead of that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I will be using that, and this is a SR level. We've attempted multiple times. I mean, looking across the board, all the indices are pushing up. So I think personally, so if I'm using that, what I do is one way of projecting. If it's at all-time highs, how you can predict with fib extensions.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 3094, I believe is next. Then that. The other way is okay. If it's moving in these ranges, I'll just copy that range across and say,
Okay.
okay, equal measure moves,
Yeah.
which lines up around there. So I reckon
Yeah.
halfway point and then there. So
Right.
yeah.
Great technique. Okay. So we covered a lot of asset classes here. I don't want you to break a promise to all your followers, and
Yes.
everyone wants, you know what everyone wants to see, right? Buddy?
Yeah,
There it is.
it's
All right.
Bitcoin.
Okay.
All right, let's break this down because this is some. I think people are so emotionally attached to this, right? A lot of people seem to think I'm a perma bear. I'm no perma bear. I was bullish, on the ride up. I'm bearish on the ride down. But okay, let's break it down logically, and then people can make their own mind up. So if we look at it right now, I always like to start with a higher time frame chart. What are the quarterly levels saying to me? So I'm going to start this off with okay, that's a key level there.
Yeah.
I mean, with Bitcoin, there's not much price to work with because still like a immature market in that sense. And then this is my key level here. Okay, there.
Okay.
So, okay, when we broke below here, I would look for bearishness and we rolled it down. And then below here, I was a bear again, but now it's stuck between these two levels. That's not enough to go by. What I can say is a clean break below here, then we're bearish. A clean break above here, we're bullish. Okay, let's break it down further now to the monthly. Monthly, I mean, the monthly candle hasn't closed. If Bitcoin can do a 40% move in one day, it can do a 40% down move in a day as well. So let's keep it realistic and say, okay, that's fine. I mean, this was my initial target there. It's taken that, and I had to close the rest. So I'm not getting much from that. Let's break it down further and say, okay, this is where my range is coming. So on the daily, I can see it's consolidation, breakdown, retest so far. So what I do is, at which point would I feel comfortable going like major bullish? So I mark out my ranges. So this is the low. That's the
Right.
that's the high. So if it smashes above here, that would confirm to me or increase the probability that the high is in. For now, resistance has become support. And look at this, it can't make a clean smash above that quarterly level. So could I take a trade off there? Possibly, but I need more confirmation. The other ranges is here and then here. So there's two ways of playing it. While I'm here, it's sort of like, for me, it's short term while I'm stuck between here. If it was to make a clean break below here, then I believe we go to around the 6K levels. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'll do wait for a clean break above here, then I'll high probability longs. Now I can still play day trades towards that. So what I do then is I break it down further and I'll get rid of this and say, okay, what's going on? So I'm going to go to this chart now. Now this chart, what I've got marked out is
So
my
you'll drill down all the way to 5-minute chart. trade this intraday.
Yep. So what I've
Okay.
got here is this is
3 minute now.
this is the no 3 month that is. This
Oh,
is
3
the
months.
low of the,
Okay.
this is the low of the year. That's the high of the year. This is the
Yeah.
midpoint for the year.
Right.
So probability
Neutral.
wise, if you were to ask me where would I get strong probability shorts, clean break below the midpoint. So what I then do is, okay, if I've still got that bearish bias, I'm seeing this as a deviation. Now a lot of people say, oh, look at this impulsive move. Well, whenever we see that in FX, this usually is a sign that hang on a minute, that's like a topping out. Everybody chasing it. When do you see this not get filled in?
Yeah,
So
true.
so what I'm seeing is, okay, within that, what do I need to see? Short term, I've got a short on. My stop loss is around here. If it makes a clean break above here, I'm wrong and I'll cut my short.
Okay.
And
So
I'm
you
aiming.
think it could pull back to your, I don't know if it's a green or black line around 8,600. That's a midpoint
So
line or a quarterly line.
that's the midpoint for the year. That's the
Yeah. Okay.
midpoint for the year. Now, if it makes a clean break, now there's two things that could happen. Now, one scenario is everybody's looking for a retest there. That's fine. I'm only looking to trade it short term there. My swing trades come in play on a clean break below this red level here. So for a bullish case, if it does this and it gets back above it, I'm happy to take a long back into there. Now, this was resistance.
Right.
So if it gets back below here, that means all this move was a deviation. Then my swing shorts come back in play, and then that's when I don't care if I don't catch the high, but I want to get in when the probability side. For me, the probability side, if it gets back below the mid range, that's 0.1. 0.2 is the SR around that. Look at this pivot.
8250. A lot of moving averages coming in there too on the daily. So
If you look, if
yeah.
you look historically, this level here, every time it deviates, it got back below it, it pushed lower. Deviates
Yeah.
it, as soon as it broke below, it pushed lower. Same
Yeah.
thing again. If it deviates it, breaks down here, then down, takes at this low, we should go to 6K. So I'm happy to play either way. Let the market show me. So yeah.
Another great record time presentation by TraderSZ.
Yep.
Really, anything you want to wrap it with?
No, not really. I mean, just
Okay. Well, you know what? Thanks for coming today, my trading warrior brother. Some great looks.
I think
Great looks. So really cautionary tale for the bears and S&Ps and yen. If it does what you say it's going to do, what everyone's wanting to short, the stocks, S&Ps, are the wrong short, because if you're right about the yen, the crash comes in the bond market, not in the stock market, at least initially. So I really love your work, Saeed, and
thank you very much. I
appreciate
appreciate that.
you coming in here. Much respect, my trading warrior brother.
Thank you very much, Dale. Have a good one.
All right, you too, buddy. So everyone, thanks Saeed Zaman, and you could follow him on Twitter, and he has a following. There's a reason people have followings. It's because they provide good content. That's why we have one. That's why Saeed has one. So you know that people are adding value to their followers by the kind of looks that Saeed gave us today. So that's a wrap, everyone. Nick, have a good afternoon. Brock, Forex Gal, likes a sweet triangle. Maybe you need to go have a date, Forex Gal. I don't want you falling in love with technical formations. Find yourself a man with a 7-figure trading account. That's my that's my advice to you. All right, everyone. See you, Monica. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. See everyone tomorrow. Adios.